close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Daniel Bailey TV. Welcome to another show. I hope you're all keeping safe and well on Monday afternoon. We're getting ever closer to that Premier League season. The Premier League season starts in just under 2 weeks. Got my friend George with me. How you doing, George?
I'm good, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on. Listen, we're going to be talking all things Arsenal. We're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to be talking about the US preseason tour and looking ahead to the Premier League season. But before I get into all of that, I just want to remind you all, please hit that like button. It's so important. It helps the channel grow. So yeah, if you're watching this, please smash that like button. George, how are you feeling about the new season? Let's start with transfers. How are you feeling about Arsenal's transfer window so far?
I'm quite positive, to be fair, mate. Like the players we're bringing in, most of the players we brought in have got Champions League experience. Like you look at Zinchenko, Jesus, Vieira, played for Porto in a few games in Champions League. So at the minute, I'd say it's like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I still feel like we need another 2 or 3 players in, if I'm honest. Like, I'd say another central midfielder. I would have liked a backup striker, but I don't think we're going to get that. And it looks like we're going for a mystery winger, as I keep hearing. So, yeah. I'm not sure who it is, but I'd say on the whole, like I've said all along, mate, if we can get rid of 5 or 6 of the deadwood players that I'm sure we'll cover and bring in a couple more, I think we've got a very, very good squad. And for me, minimum top 4 and maybe win a trophy. So I'm quite positive, to be fair.
Yeah. I sort of agree with you, actually. I think it's been a really good transfer window. Like, especially sort of at the end of last season, the way it ended, we needed a good transfer window. And I think we had that. I think we've had a good transfer window. I still think we need like another midfielder, and then, like you say, a winger and stuff. But overall, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, we definitely are.
What have you made of the signings? Let's break the signings down. Let's start with. I'm not going to start with Gabriel Jesus. We'll come to him a little bit later because he's the obvious one. But let's start with Fabio Vieira. Obviously, we've not had a chance to see him play yet in preseason because he's carrying an injury. But what have you made of that signing? I actually think that could be a really good signing for us.
Yeah, I think it could be a really good signing. I think a lot of people didn't have a clue who he was before, obviously, we signed him, and then everyone watches him on YouTube and knows everything, don't they? But I watched a bit of him play for Porto because he was basically their direct replacement for Diaz. And he come in and just took the mantle and stepped up, and he reminds me a bit like Bernardo Silva. So that sort of mould of player. He was a player of the tournament for the under-21 tournament last year as well. So, and he played against some pretty good youngsters in that one. So we just have to wait and see, Dan. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely one for the future. I know we hear that a lot, but if he can turn up and do what, like, there's nothing to say he can't do what Diaz does at Liverpool, or even like I was listening to Bruno Fernandes when he was talking. He was saying Fabio Vieira's next best thing to come out of Portugal. So when you got people like that talking, you kind of have to listen a bit. So yeah, I'm quite intrigued to see what he's like. I'm hoping. I'm not sure how bad his injury is, so hopefully he'll be back soon. But he can play in a lot of different positions. So he can play in the guard role. He can play in the number 8 role. He can play on the left. So it's another versatile player, isn't it?
I think it's just a foot injury. That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing it's just like a minor foot injury.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he'll be at the Emirates Cup on Saturday, but
no, I think from what maybe Arteta was saying is that he's going to be a couple of weeks behind. So I think we won't see him until the second game of the season.
Yeah. So
if we're going to see him at all.
Yeah. So then, but I mean, like it's a decent signing. Like it come out of nowhere as well, and it just shows when people talk on social media that people don't really know actually really what's going on, because like there was no news, and then Vieira was signed having a medical, and there was no news from specific people, was there?
No, it was mad. It was mad how it was kept under wraps.
Yeah.
Because it was, nobody knew about it. Everyone was all about Tielemans, but then Fabio Vieira come out and everyone was shocked.
And it's like this mystery winger that we're going for. Like no one knows who it is. They're just listing whoever's a winger. Yeah,
it's mad. He can play across those. He can play across all those positions, can't he?
Just add strength and depth, though, don't it, mate? Like it's what we need. We need a squad. We don't need to be playing games and have injuries and then seeing 3 academy graduates on the bench when they've had no first team experience. So, like you think now across you have Erdegaard, Jesus, and Martinelli. Then you've still got Smith Rowe and Vieira that can play in those positions, and whoever this new winger is going to be. So it adds strength for me. Yeah,
it definitely does. It definitely does. Big up to everybody in the live chat. I'm not sure how is that a thing? Apparently we were close to getting Arthur on loan or something. Somebody's just put
it's
in
been
the
a
live
lot
chat,
of talk, but it's been a lot of talk, but it doesn't make sense to me. From other reliable people I've heard, they've said that that's not happening. So I don't know. It depends who you believe and what sources and that. But why would we go for Arthur on loan when we're looking at people like Tielemans and Lucas Paqueta?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like Arthur as a player, but if I had to choose between Arthur and Tielemans, I think I would go for Tielemans just because Tielemans.
I just don't. It might have happened in January, maybe, but I just don't.
Yeah.
Unless someone like Xhaka leaves, that's the only way that happens, because which ain't going to happen. It just don't. I think it was Fabrizio Romano said there's like no concrete evidence that Arsenal are going for Arthur, so you kind of listen. And Charles Watts, I think it said, so you kind of listen to them people, don't you?
Alan Attic says we need a right back, another central midfielder, and a winger.
Yeah, I agree with the right back with Tomiyasu with his injury, but then if you look at Norton Cuthby, he's meant to be the next best thing. So, do they really want to bring someone in for about a year or 18 months for when Norton can break through? So, but at the minute, I do agree we'd need a right back.
Do you know something? Right, I was
unless
thinking
you
about
play Ben White there. So
yeah, I was thinking about this right back situation, and obviously we're going maybe slightly off topic. Well, maybe we're not because we're talking about transfers, but talking about this right back situation, I was actually thinking that I would rather. Yes, we need a right back, but I mean, if we can have Ben White filling in there, if he can do a decent job, I don't think it's a priority to get a right back. I know we need one and we need to address it, but I also think there's other areas in the team that need addressing more than the right back.
Central midfield is my priority.
Yeah, and another winger across the front that can help chip in with goals. I'm not sure a right back, although it is a priority, I'm not sure if it's high on the list of priorities right now. And actually, if Ben White can do a job, don't forget we've got William Saliba who can come in at central defence. And actually, arguably, people would say Saliba over Ben White was probably a better option with the way Saliba's been playing. And we are going to come on to that as well a little bit later.
Before people shoot me down, I'm not saying he's the future or the next best thing, but the games I've watched, Cedric has actually not played that bad. Like, he's played enough to do a job. Like against the Chelsea game, like he was decent. So, and Tomiyasu, I don't know what's going on with him, but and this is my thing, but with Norton, like a lot of people who know what they're on about in the professional football game have said, like, if he gets the right development this season, he could be like the next best thing. Like, they're not saying as good as Trent, but up there. So, do we really want to bring someone in if we've got that coming?
And Aaron Jones says, for me, and I'm just reading this comment out, you can disagree or agree with it. And Aaron Jones says, for me, the only decent signing that we've made is Shinchenko. Gabriel Jesus doesn't score enough goals. I'm going to come on to that because I actually disagree with your point in that comment. And then Matt Turner looks crap. Marquinhos stats is crap. I mean, I don't know. I kind of disagree with this comment fully. Vieira don't know too much about, and I don't know too much about Vieira, but let's break this comment down. Gabriel Jesus, does he score enough goals? I mean,
scores more than Lacazette, doesn't he?
He's scored 4 in pre-season already. I think we have to be a little bit careful when we talk about Gabriel Jesus and him not scoring enough goals, because I've always stood on this side of the fence with Gabriel Jesus, that I actually think him and Arsenal is a good fit. I also think that because he's the main man, I think that suits him down to the ground. And because his settled position, although he can play anywhere across the front three, his settled position is the number 9. And I do genuinely think, give him a consistent run of games in that number 9 position, I think he can score 20 to 25 goals. That's my general feeling. I genuinely think that. And also we have to accept that at Man City, they're a team of superstars. They've got more than one player. So when you're playing in a team of superstars, and I guess the best example of this is probably Jack Grealish. When you're playing in a team of superstars, you don't always look the greatest because there's so many other great players in and around you that could overshadow you. And some players it suits, some players it doesn't. Look at Jack Grealish. He went at Villa, he was tearing down trees, absolutely quality. At Man City, he don't look the player he was at Villa. So I think we need to be a little bit careful. Like, yes, we can go off past experiences and Jesus playing for Man City, but just look at the way he started. And I know we have to be careful because it's only pre-season, but we have to look at the way he started. I genuinely think he will. I think he could score 20 to 25 goals a season. And, I think that's a good return. I think Gabriel Jesus is going to be one of the surprises this season. And don't forget as well, he's not hit his peak yet. We're getting him at his peak. What do you make of that, George, Gabriel Jesus? And I get your point, Aaron Jones. Like, honestly, and you're a regular contributor to the channel, so I really appreciate your comments. But I just think we have to be a little bit careful with the way we label that. I think we've got to be a little bit, careful. And like George said just a minute ago, we've been so starved of strikers, like you said about Lacazette. You know, he scores more goals than Lacazette, but he also does the stuff as well, not just scoring goals. He also does the stuff that Lacazette does. But what Gabriel Jesus does as well is you have to look at the assists. He's got loads of assists in pre-season already.
Yeah.
But George, floor's over to you. What do you make of Gabriel Jesus?
I have to completely disagree with that comment. If I'm on it, I'm sorry, but I do. Like, I don't understand the mythology of that Jesus don't score enough goals. So he scored 92 goals for Man City playing as a backup striker. Because really, that's what he's done. Like, Aguero was their number one, and for all those years. I know recently, he didn't score that much, but he scored goals. He scored goals in Champions League semi-finals. Every season he's been here, he's scored over. I think he's scored double figure amount, or he's been involved in double figure amount of goals. Something Arsenal have not had for a while. So I do respect that comment, but like it's like you said, Dan. Like, look at Jack Grealish, he ain't what he was at Villa. You go and look at Raheem Sterling when he goes to Chelsea. I bet he does a lot better there than what he in recent couple of years. In the last 18 months he's done at City. They have such and he wasn't. And people before they say, oh well, if he was that good, why would he leave City? Because he ain't going to sit on the bench to Haaland. Like, I think it's a pretty. I don't know. I've watched pre-season and I don't pay too much attention to pre-season because it's just fitness and it is only pre-season. But just how sharp he seems and how much he links up with people like Nketiah and even like Martinelli, the relationship they already have, for me, is pretty good. I think Jesus could easily score minimum 15 to 20 goals, maybe. And if we had that last season, we'd be in the top 4. That's what people need to remember. If we had a striker who could score, we wouldn't have probably lost games like we did to Brighton, Palace. Forget about the Tottenham and Newcastle thing because that's irrelevant. But the games you take, so I was listening to, I think Lee was talking about it. You turn one of those defeats into a win, we have top 4. So, for me, Gabriel Jesus is nothing but positive in that sense. And what did we pay for him? Was it 40 million? 45 million? Sorry?
Yeah, 45 million.
And you see what some like people like Gianluigi Samacco, who's gone to West Ham, he's gone for 30 odd million, and he's not proven. So, I'd like to have Gabriel Jesus' CV as a proper footballer. Won the league 4 times, won FA Cups, Carabao Cup. Sorry, is it 4? 3 or 4? He's won FA Cups, Carabao Cup. Like, the only thing he hasn't done is the Champions League. And I'm like, if you actually go through the Premier League stats of goal scorers, he's in the top 10, which for me ain't bad for a backup striker, as we put in. The phrase being a big fish in a small pond comes to it with Jesus at Arsenal, where he was with at City, he was a small fish in a big pond, where he's swapping that now.
Yeah,
I think it's a good signing. Like, I was happy when we linked. I was really happy.
The other thing as well we have to remember, and I've always firmly been in the Jesus camp, that actually he would be a good fit for Arsenal even before he signed. But the one thing we have to appreciate as well with Gabriel Jesus is that he's playing really well in pre-season, and we've got to be careful because he's only pre-season. But you think he's not reached his full peak yet?
No.
Fitness-wise. And he already looks levels above.
Yeah, I think people's opinions on Jesus is media-driven. Like, because he didn't do what an Aguero does, or Ronaldo, or say Salah or anything. Because he ain't banning goals left, right, and centre. But when he plays, he scores. It's not. Like, didn't he score 4 goals in one game? I know people say
I think
that's
there's only one game in pre-season so far that he's not scored in, but he did get an assist.
I understand people. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying oh, Gabriel Jesus is the new best thing. But what I'm saying, I understand why people say about his goal scoring, but I think it's a good signing. Like, he's bringing the winning mentality to the club as well. He's won stuff. We don't have much of that in our squad, and he's 25 years old, so he's at that right. He's at that right thing. He's got the relationship he had with Arteta when he was at City, and then the other player will come to afterwards. So he and the Brazilian has it. So it's all. I don't know. I might be wrong, and we might look back and say it's a really bad transfer, but I'm sure when Jesus is scoring week in, week out, people will be saying, "Oh yeah, I'm glad we signed him."
Yeah. I'd just like to remind everybody, there's quite a few of you watching, so please smash that like button if you haven't done so already. It's so important. It helps the channel grow. Also, please hit the share button. That really does help the channel grow. Please do, because I'm a small channel, so it helps get my channel noticed. Just one final thing I want to say on the Gabriel Jesus thing before we move on to the other signings or players that have come back, because not all of them have obviously been signed this summer, obviously in the case of William Saliba. But with Gabriel Jesus as well, I also think we have to be realistic with the kind of strikers that we're getting, because we're not at that top table where we can go and get the likes of, say, Haaland's, Salah's, maybe even Lukaku, because we're not in the Champions League. When you look at the strikers below the top tier, and don't get me wrong, I don't want people to take away that I don't want the top tier strikers at Arsenal, because I really do. I'd love nothing more than a blooming Haaland or a Salah to come to Arsenal, but it isn't going to happen. But when you look at that next level of strikers down, who realistically, other than Jesus, who was realistically possible? Like, when you look at that next level tier, I've seen people say Richarlison, absolutely no, thank you. Never really was on that train.
Someone who was a top goal scorer and didn't even score double figures for a team who just stayed up. I'm good, Trent. Like, I get what you're saying about Jesus, a top tier striker.
Yeah.
But Gabriel Jesus was played as their main striker in the Champions League, and they got to the semi-finals. So for me, Jesus is a Champions League player, and we're not even in Champions League. So to be able to attract that, like, and I've had this thing with a mate of mine who's Spurs. We've attracted Champions League players and people that win stuff. They have the players they've brought in. There's only one that's played in the Champions League. So we must be doing something right. Like, all right, I'm not saying Jesus is like Haaland or nothing like that. But you compared him to Lukaku. If you want to go down that road, Jesus scored a lot more goals than Lukaku did in last season.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just think there's a very bad opinion and mythology with Gabriel Jesus. But I'm not saying he's like Mbappe, but I think I don't normally like listening to Talk Sport, and when you've got people like Adrian Durham and all that who hate Arsenal saying that could be the signing of the season.
Yeah. I think with Gabriel Jesus. Are you there, George?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure. It just went a bit crazy. My end. But yeah, I think we have to give him a chance, and he's levels above Lacazette. So I'm happy with Gabriel Jesus.
I think he's one of the better strikers in the country. Like, you go through the country, and we're talking about proper centre forwards, not all this rubbish old Salah, because he ain't a centre forward. So, like, you go through the team, like centre forwards in the league, apart from Haaland and probably Nunes, as a proper number 9, and maybe, I hate to say it, probably Harry Kane, who is there that's better than him?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Let's move on from Gabriel Jesus, and let's look at the other signings. I'm going to start with one who is not a new signing, but has come back and integrated into the team. I want to start with William Saliba. How impressed have you been with William Saliba in pre-season? Because I watched both of those games, and I think actually William Saliba is already, in my opinion, a starter in the Premier League. And I would even go so far as to say that my back line for the opening season would be White, Gabriel, Saliba, and Zinchenko. But what, in your opinion, what have you made of William Saliba?
Yeah, I watched, like you said, both the games. I was really, really impressed. He seems to have elevated since his loan moves. And I know a lot of people was like, oh, Arteta this, Arteta he don't like. But it's obviously done Saliba a lot of good. You don't get in the French team of the season and keep clean sheets against people like Mbappe if you're not that good, do you? So I'm quite impressed, to be fair. Like, it's nice to have options, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got Gabriel, Saliba, White, and Holding as your back four. Like, as your 4 centre half. Sorry, it's good. I think he might start against Palace, if I'm honest, because I think Tomiyasu's not going to be fit, so they'll probably go Ben White at right back. But even if he doesn't start and it get all, people need to remember, we have a squad, so it's going to be alternated. Just because they don't start all the time, like, you don't see the top teams just have 2 centre halves and they're played week in, week out. So from the games I've seen, I've been really impressed with Saliba, and all he can do is get better. I'd feel a bit more happier if he signed a new deal, but I think that's coming, if I'm honest, from what I'm hearing. So, but yeah, he slots quite in good with Gabriel, to be fair.
Question here for both of us, breaking off topic for a second. Mr. B for Life says, do you think Arsenal will win a trophy this season? And he's asked that to both of us. George, I'll let you take that one first.
I think there's a good chance. I don't want to come across as cocky or arrogant, but I think with the squad that we're trying to develop, if it goes the way that it's all going to, I don't see why we can't win a trophy. Before anyone thinks, I don't mean the Premier League, but all depending on who drops down, I don't see a reason why we can't win something like an FA Cup or Carabao Cup or even Europa League. There's no reason. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think my ambitions for this season is top 4 and winning the Europa League. Yeah. I think that'd be brilliant. Top 4 in the Europa League. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to win the FA Cup. I'd love to win the Carabao Cup. But definitely top 4. We need to get as high up in that league as possible. And then the Europa League, winning a Europa League, winning a European trophy, and also that's another route into the Champions League. I think it's got to be a must that we get Champions League football this season. We have to, absolutely.
I think it's minimum for me.
League football. Yeah, we have to. We have to get Champions League football. But I'd like us to go deep into the cup competitions. Yeah. I don't want to get dumped out to Nottingham Forest in the 3rd round of the FA Cup.
Well, I think it helps with the squad with that as well. You got to think last season when that happened against Nottingham Forest, it's not an excuse, but it happened. We had the African Cup of Nations that obliterated us with Partey and Elneny and Pepe, because they, whatever, I don't care what people say, especially Elneny and Pepe, they would have played in the FA Cup. Whether what people's opinions are of Pepe, and I think he'll be off anyway. But we had to play like the youngsters because of the injuries we had. So if we have a better, a more deeper squad, There's no excuse.
And Aaron Jones here with a couple of comments. First one, he said on the Gabriel Jesus thing, he'd rather have gone after Cavani, see how he's free, and since he's barely played for United. I'm not sure I would, to be honest with that.
How's Cavani? He's like 30 odd. He don't
yeah,
fit
I'm
in
not sure.
project.
I think if we'd have gone after someone like Cavani, even the dog agrees. If we'd have gone after someone like Cavani, we would have ended up having to replace him in about a year or two's time because he is close to retiring. And
you want to sign someone who's hardly played this season.
And he said, this is pre-season, though, to be honest, apart from Chelsea, all the other teams who played have not looked that great. And that is a point. It's a point that we have to acknowledge that because the teams that we've played have been, apart from Chelsea, and actually that Chelsea performance, you have to look at it. They had a lot of first teamers out. Do you know what I mean? They're decent players.
Oh, yeah, they had Sterling, Mount, Thiago, Jorginho, Werner.
Yeah, they were all...
Mendy. It was near enough a first team for them. And I do get that. I do get it's only pre-season and you will make your fib, but from how we're judging on what we've seen so far, we're a lot better. We're a lot better with Gabriel Jesus up front than when we had Alex Lacazette up front, who played more like a defensive midfielder, and then we had Aubameyang. When he was scoring, great, but if Aubameyang didn't score, he didn't do nothing else. Whereas Jesus sets up goals, links play, goes back to... He just works hard. And Cavani's a good player, maybe about 10 years ago, but just not now.
Look at as well, again, going on to, and this sort of is on topic to what we were talking about when we were talking about Saliba. Look at the way he kept those Chelsea players quiet.
Yeah.
I look at the way he kept them, they didn't really have chances.
I think he's doing well, and it's good to have Saliba back. Do you know what I mean? And I think the loan moves have done him all the world of good. Loan moves help players. Look at Smith Rowe. He went on loan to Huddersfield, and look, he was one of our top goal scorers last season.
Where are these comments? I'm trying to find. Arsenal Manic says we should bring Tammy Abraham home. He's an Arsenal fan. He's also a different striker to Gabriel Jesus. Yeah, I don't think Arsenal are going to spend money on another striker.
No,
I really don't see it. I don't. And when you look at the type of players that we're bringing in versatile players that can play across.
I would have bought
number
Tammy Abraham
of positions.
I would have gone for Abraham, but that was in January. If you go back to what I said earlier in the show, I do think we need another striker that offers something different, but we're not doing that this summer. There's no point saying, "Oh, we should get this one." It's not going to happen. We're going to get a right winger, a central midfielder, and potentially a left-sided centre half. They're not looking.
Sorry, I don't know how old this comment must have been put up when we were talking about strikers and Lukaku, because Mr. B put here, I could score more goals. I scored more goals than Lukaku last season. It's not difficult.
Well, I can't see I could score more than Lukaku. So, but yeah, with strikers, we're not. They wouldn't have bought Jesus. Jesus has always been their number one from the summer. They didn't want. They obviously think Jesus, Edin, and Ketia, and if Martinelli needs to swap, that's enough to them. I would want another striker. I would have been delighted with another striker, but I can't see it happening.
And Aaron Jones says, if Ben White's at centre back over Saliba, I'll be fuming. That's a typical Artetaism. First time I've heard that. Actually, I don't think Ben White will be at centre back. I think Ben White will be at right back. I think the back four will be Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko. Because you look at Tommy Asu, he ain't going to be ready for the start of the season. And if he is ready, he isn't going to be thrown in because he hasn't had much of a pre-season. So I think the back four we've seen against Chelsea, I think it will be the back four we see against Palace at the start of the season, providing there isn't any other injuries, which, you know, with Arsenal, you just never know.
No.
But guys, do smash the like button. There's lots of you in the chat, and lots of you praising Saliba's performance as well, which is really good. And lots of you praising that. George, let's talk about the pre-season. Have you watched much of the pre-season games? Because obviously
I've watched all the games.
They have been sort of like 1:30 in the morning.
I had so I watched the Chelsea one, and I had to leave my house the next yesterday morning at 8 in the morning to go and play blind cricket in Gloucester. So I was struggling a bit in the morning, but managed to wake up.
Yeah. What have you made of pre-season? What have you made of, you know, considering usually Arsenal's pre-seasons are unprepared. We don't usually have the players we want in. This season feels a little bit different. I've got to be honest. It feels incredibly different. What have you made of it?
I think it's been alright. Obviously, like, I think we've seen that our B team is not good at all. So, like, the ones that when you see people like Bellerin, Mari, Maitland-Niles and all that lot playing, just Pepe. But when we have like our first, like when you say that, I'd say the first 15 players fit and all that going, I think we've been alright. Attacking wise, we look pretty positive. Like the speed we're breaking at. Yeah, I think it's been like we beat. Was it Nuremberg?
Yeah, Nuremberg. So we had a pre-season behind closed game against Ipswich.
Yeah,
then we played Nuremberg. Yeah. Then we played Everton, Orlando City, and Chelsea.
So all right, Nuremberg and our lower league team, but Ipswich run of the mill. Everton still a Premier League side, so they're still a team we're going to have to face this season. So hopefully we can beat them. Orlando, well, anyone could have probably played that, and then the Chelsea game, that was the one I thought, to be fair, we might have lost or struggled. I didn't expect us to try and beat them 4-0. And what I was really happy about in the Chelsea game was Sambi Lokonga, like coming on, getting his goal. It might give him the confidence he needs, because I think it could be a very good season for him, because he isn't going to be putting that pressure if we bring another midfielder in that we get an injury and he's thrown in the deep end. Because I honestly think that's what's happened to Tavares. Like, I don't think how he's been assassinated by Arsenal's supporters. He's still don't forget he's only 21, 22. And he was brought as an understudy to Tierney. So in that sense, Tierney's always injured, unfortunately. So now we've got Zinchenko. So Tavares, if he goes up, it'll look like he'll go out on loan, but hopefully he can get his form back.
Yeah.
People will probably disagree with me about Tavares, but I don't think he's as bad as.
Like, I don't think Tavares is bad.
When he's bad, he's horrid. But
yeah, we need to be keeping hold. We need to be keeping hold of Tavares. I think.
I agree with the Atalanta. Like, if he goes to Atalanta on loan, but you can't involve. I wouldn't involve any like buying obligation or nothing. But yeah, pre-season I've been happy with, to be honest. I can't ask for any more. Maybe it's different. I'm not used to Arsenal actually buying players before, so that's why it's been a bit weird.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are. Afternoon, Ross. Hope you're well, mate. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, Russ.
Let's have a look. A lot of you in the chat are talking about Pepe. George, I'm going to talk about Pepe.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to pre-season and then looking ahead to the Premier League. But I want to talk about Pepe. Do you think Pepe should be sticking around? I'm of the camp that actually I think it's time to move Pepe on. And a lot of you in the chat are going to disagree with me, but I just think for him, for Arsenal, for everybody all round, for all parties, I think Pepe is not what Arteta's looking for. And I just think it's time now to get somebody fresh in who Arteta actually wants and that is going to do the work on the pitch that Arteta wants. I think it's time to move Pepe on. Where do you stand on Pepe?
See, this is hard for me. Pepe's been one of my, I've always backed Pepe. But now I've watched him in pre-season and there's just nothing there. People might disagree with that. I watched him in the pre-season games he's played in. He don't look that great at the minute. Maybe his confidence has gone. I think we all know the dodgy dealings around that deal anyway, but he wasn't no 70-odd million pound player, 30, 40 at most, if that. I think for him, he's got to find somewhere that someone's going to put their arm around him and love him again. I just don't. Sometimes you've overdone and overstayed your welcome, sort of thing, which is sad because I think Pepe has got something about him. The pace he's had, when you see him, if he properly run out a player. And I think that's why they're trying to get this mystery winger, whoever it is, because I think that's the replacement for Pepe, if I'm honest. I don't know. It's hard for me because I do like Pepe, but I just don't think it works anymore.
I feel like with Pepe, that since he's come to Arsenal, we've made excuses for him. So when he first joined Arsenal, it was give him time to adapt. And I just feel like now we've run out of excuses for Pepe. I don't think he's suited to the Premier League. I don't think the Premier League suits him. I honestly, genuinely don't. I think Pepe is a player that needs a lot of time on the ball because he's not going to run at you. He's not going to just take a player on. He's always going to cut inside. And
this is the thing. The pace he has, if he'd done that, then what a player. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not slow. And you've got to think, playing in the French league is different to playing in the Premier League. So,
yeah, it's insane. It really is. It's mad. Let's come back to pre-season because I think when you've seen Pepe play in pre-season, like you said, George, he's not really offered a lot, and he just looks like a player that doesn't want to be at Arsenal anymore. He just looks like a player that has already convinced himself that his future is elsewhere. Now, I know a lot of you in the chat are going to disagree with that, but I just feel with Pepe, I think he's going to move on. I'd be very surprised.
But it'd be interesting. But yeah.
Come the end of the January, come the end of the summer.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised come the end of the summer that if he's still an Arsenal player.
Well, what I'd like to know is if people disagree with the Pepe thing, what does he offer Arsenal now? That's what I would. If Pepe's coming on, are you excited? Oh yeah, Pepe's going to do something. Most of the time, I'm not. Unfortunately. So, I think the majority of Arsenal's fan base know that Pepe's not good. It's not working. No. So I'd love to know what Pepe offers.
Guys in the chat, please smash the like button if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate that. Good numbers watching. So really appreciate all your contributions as well. We're going to talk about the season because it's only 2 weeks away. Less than that, actually. I think it's
next Friday, isn't it?
Next Friday. So we got this Friday. It's not this Friday, and then next Friday. So 2 weeks away. We got the Emirates Cup, and then we got the game against Crystal Palace. How are you feeling about the season, George? I know I asked you this right at the beginning of the season, but what are you confident that actually we can kick on? Obviously, the transfer window is still open, so the likelihood is now that players that are going to come to Arsenal are going to be in the beginning of the Premier League season. So as things stand right now, are you happy with the squad, and are you happy with... Let's not look too far to the end of the season, because obviously there's a long way to go, and like I say, the transfer window doesn't shut till the 1st of September. But right now, are you happy that the squad we've got can get us through the first 7 or 8 games?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm happy. I think they can get us through it. I've banged on all summer that I wanted a proper central midfielder, and I know people say, but Zinchenko can play there, and he is a good midfielder. So, but I do want that other central midfielder. But them first 7 or 8 games, like getting to September, October time, I think we've got a good enough squad to get a good lump of points out of that. To be fair, I think Crystal Palace away is going to be the hard one, if I'm honest. Under the lights Friday night, we know what Palace are like. Throw the Vieira effect into it. But yeah, I think I'm positive for this season. The players we've signed so far, and what we've seen in pre-season, because that's all you can go on. I know people say it's only pre-season, but we can only go on what we've seen.
Yeah, I think Palace away is going to be a tricky game. I think, if I'm honest, I would have liked a home game to kick off the new season, but it is what it is. I do generally think, though, we can get a result against Palace. I honestly do think we can go there and get a result. I want to ask you a question.
We've got options as well now, mate. Though you've got to remember, like last season when we played Palace, we had Lacazette up front, and then Nketiah, and it was Nketiah. He was playing that sort of backup roles, but now we've got Jesus that can start. I know Eddie can come off the bench. Then you've got, as it stands at the minute, we've still got Balogun. So if you wanted something different, you've got him. Then you've got Martinelli. There's options.
Yeah. Arsenal Manic, your comment on Pepe is spot on. He had one good game. You had one good game in pre-season. How many more excuses are we going to make for Pepe? And he's been given plenty of match time. So yeah, I get your point on Pepe.
Everyone says about Nelson. So this is an example. So everyone says Nelson ain't good enough, or should we keep him? I don't see much difference between Reece Nelson and Pepe. So why should we keep making excuses for Pepe when we don't for Nelson?
Yeah. And Arsenal Manic
Don't get me wrong, I don't like slating the players off. I really don't. Those who know me know I'm not like that. People say I'm too positive, but sometimes you just have to say it as it is.
Arsenal Manic says he can barely dribble past players. So disappointed. I thought he was meant to be this baller. And I think a lot of us feel like that. The other thing is as well, because I realise we've gone way off topic. The other thing is as well, certain players get free passes. Do you know what I mean? Certain players get free passes and they do much. They do much worse than what Pepe's done. But the thing is with Pepe, I don't see why people are quick. I don't see why people are quick to give him a free pass. I honestly don't see it. I think with Pepe as well, I think the price tag has weighed him down. I think the price tag has weighed him down, and I think Pepe scored 16 goals 2 seasons ago, Alan Attic says. Yeah, but it's not just about the goal scoring.
What's he done
for me.
since then?
It's about the in-game. When you look at the players,
yeah, that's 2 years ago. Like we're talking about now. If we're going on the basis, but he scored 16 goals 2 years ago. Like maybe he did, and yeah, he did. He had a very good season, but since in the last 12 to 18 months, he hasn't offered anything. He doesn't look happy. So as a person, he maybe, like you said, he understands his futures elsewhere. It just doesn't work.
I'm going to read this last comment on Pepe. Pepe said he wants to stay and fight for his place according to the news. There's no big clubs in for him, and there's no intention to sell him. I think there is an intention to sell him, but I think Arsenal want to get the right amount of money for him. They're obviously not going to get 72 million, but I think 20 to 25 million would be about an ideal for him.
That comment from Pepe come from last season, because that was what he said in January. We're in the summer now. So, and there's a lot. I think if someone come in and offered, say, 30 million for Pepe, Arsenal would snap it up.
Yeah, let's move on from Pepe. Let's go back to what we were talking about originally, which was the Palace game and the start of the season. I want to ask you, George, how many points do you think we can get from the start of the season? When you take the first 6 to 8, when you take the first 8 games, how many points do you think we can get?
So who we got? We've got Palace, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Villa, and then I think it's Man United. So I'll take them ones. So I'd say 15.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
Because I think we can beat Leicester. I think we can beat Fulham and Bournemouth. I'd say we could probably beat Villa.
I think we could beat Villa.
Palace, I'm not sure about, because like I've said, that's the one I think we're going to struggle with.
I think we'll beat Palace.
And then we get to the Man United game, and you just don't know, do you? Because you don't know who Man United are going to have by then, because the window would have shut. We don't know who we'll have, so yeah, I think we could be. Technically, there's no. Like I've said, proper positive. There's no reason we can't win all of them. So, but if we're being realistic, maybe I'd say between 12 to 15, 12 to 16 points.
Yeah. Do you know the thing is as well, right? I actually think I'm not worried about Man United. A lot of people are going, "Oh, that Man United game is going to be tough." I'm not worried. I think Man
I'm not
United
worried, but you just don't know, do you?
I think Man United are in such a shit state that, yes, they've got Eric Ten Hag, but I think they're in such a shit state that they've got a lot of situations. I look at Man United and I look at us 3 or 4 seasons ago and I see no difference. They've got players that don't want to be there.
Mate, they think they're back because they beat Liverpool 4-0, didn't they, and won the Australia Cup or whatever it's called.
Yeah. But I think with Man United as well, they've got Ronaldo who wants out. That's going to affect the dressing room. They've got a lot of players in that dressing room. They've not really got rid of a lot of their deadwood. They've got a lot of players that they've signed. Lisandro Martinez, it's the only probably decent signing they've made.
Christian
but
Eriksen.
all the rest is crap. Christian Eriksen, I'm not even worried about Christian Eriksen. Listen, I think he's also getting on in age as well. I'm not worried about Man United. I think Man United they're going to struggle again this season. I think as soon as cracks start appearing in that team again, which they will do, as soon as a few bad results, then that's going to fold like a deck of cards.
Yeah.
And especially if they keep hold of Ronaldo, and when you know he doesn't want to be there, it's all going to implode. It's on a knife edge with Man United.
No, I agree.
But I think we'll beat Palace. I honestly do, and that's maybe me being a little bit optimistic, but I think we'll beat Palace. Who have we got after Palace? Is it
Leicester?
Leicester. I think we'll beat Leicester.
Then we've got
By then, we might have even moved for Tielemans and got him in.
Yeah.
I think we'll beat
Bournemouth
after that, isn't it? Bournemouth, then Fulham. Is it Fulham? Then Villa.
Yeah.
I know Villa's towards the end. I think they're all winnable games. If we can win every game up until that Man United game, and then I think that will be a good start to the season for us. And I genuinely believe that we have the potential to win every single game up
Yeah,
until
we definitely
that
have
Man
the
United
potential.
game.
It's just whether we do.
Because don't forget as well that the Europa League doesn't come in till September. So
No.
if we can get points on the board before the Europa League group stages start, I mean, I'm actually looking forward to the Europa League, because
And it all
I wanna
depends on the group stage we get. Because if we get teams that we should beat, that you probably will see some of the fringe players playing. So
yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Europa League.
yeah, like you'll see
I'm looking forward to going to places, going to European games.
Yeah, I am as well. To be fair.
Let's have a look here. So yeah, guys, do smash that like button as well. We're just approaching the hour mark, so I'm going to wrap the show up. But George, I'm going to ask you one final question. If Arteta doesn't get top 4 or qualify for the Champions League this
I knew you was going
season,
to ask me this.
should we call time on his Arsenal career?
So what if we don't get top 4? What if we don't win a trophy?
Essentially, if we don't qualify for the Champions League,
Well,
should
what if we win the FA Cup?
Doesn't count, because we only go back into the Europa League. If we doesn't qualify for the Champions League, take trophies out of it for a second, because I think even if we win a trophy and don't qualify for the Champions League, unless it's the Europa League, if it's the Europa League, then that's obviously still Champions League qualification. But if we win,
basically,
if we just go and win an FA Cup again and not qualify for the Champions League, do you know what I mean? It's still
yeah.
It's
so
still
if the same thing happens,
disappointing.
what happened last season, then I think questions need to be asked. Whether it means to get rid, I'm not so sure, but he'd have to be blamed for that, because this is his team now. So I'm really different with this. Like if we win a trophy matters more to me than just finishing 4th. Like 4th and a trophy, happy days, best of everything. But ultimately, if we don't win nothing and don't get top 4, then I think questions will be asked.
All right, then. What if we win a trophy and don't qualify for the Champions League?
We've still got more. We've still won more than what Tottenham have, haven't we? So,
but
a trophy's a trophy. You've got that in your cabinet. You don't go to, when you're going through your history, you don't say, "Oh, look, there's over there was when we finished 4th."
I get what you're saying, but I just think Champions League. We need to.
My only thing is being in the Champions League. You need to be in the Champions League because you believe you can win it. A lot of teams who've just finished 4th don't believe they can win it. You don't. I want to win every tournament. I want to win everything. Whether that's me not being realistic, it probably isn't. But like, and don't get me wrong, I do want us in the Champions League. I miss us being in the Champions League. So I was lucky enough to see that. But all the talk, if we don't do this, should he be sacked? Maybe. But then you've got to start everything all over again, haven't you? So it all depends on certain situations. But if you said to me, we're 6th or 7th, I'd be like, yeah, something's gone terribly wrong. But the only team I think is between 4th place is us and Spurs. Again, I think we've got a better squad than them. I honestly do.
I just think
Arteta's got pressure this season.
I just think there's an awful lot more pressure because, like you say, this is Arteta's team, and there's no excuses now.
No.
There's no excuses for Arteta.
That's right. I'll probably get called an Arteta sexual again, so that's fine. but I'm not. I support Arsenal. I don't support the manager. I just want Arsenal to be the best they can be and as far high up as they can be. But
do you know what?
A lot of things would be unwound if we go and sack Arteta at the end of the season because we ain't got top 4. I don't know. But for me, the only progress is top 4. So that's the question. Like we haven't made progress. So we want our clubs to make progress. So if that means that he hasn't done that, then yeah, maybe he has to go. Who we get in, I don't know.
And do you know what you said just there? That we all, that you want Arsenal to be the best and win as much as possible. I think that is a perfect way to end the show because we all want that. We all go about it differently and we all have different ways that we want to achieve that. But ultimately, we all want Arsenal to be the best.
We've all got the same love for our club. We all bleed red and white. It doesn't matter whether you like Arteta or if you think he's rubbish or he has to go. It don't matter whether you like specific players that are very divisive characters. At the end of the day, we all support Arsenal Football Club. We're a family, we're a community. We're not like any of these other football clubs. And that's all that I say to everyone who's watching and listening. We've got Premier League season starts next Friday. Come on, you Gunners.
Exactly. What a way to end the show. Listen, guys, I want to thank you. Definitely fuck Spurs and bunch of wankers. Guys, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. Do remember to hit that like button on your way out and do hit that subscribe button too. George, tell everybody about your channel.
Cool. So I also, people might not realise, but I am also registered blind like Dan. So me and a couple of mates and that we've got our own YouTube channel where we talk about football just in general. So we do our own shows and stuff, and we're always looking for people to get involved. But so please, it would mean a lot if you could go and give us a look and like a subscribe. So we're called Golden Goal TV, and our Twitter handle is @Golden Goal TV. Or if you want to follow me, I'm @ClockendGeorge, where I normally post songs that I've kind of made up or heard, like new chants. So that's what you'll hear a lot at the minute.
Guys, what I'll do is if you look out on my community tab this afternoon, I'll share the link to the channel on the tab, and I'll also pop it in the description of this video. So if you don't see the community, because I know a lot of you don't see the community tab posts because they get lost in all the other YouTube channels that you guys are subscribed to. But listen, George, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
Yeah, no, that's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And guys, see you on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I'm going Saturday, actually.
Oh, you're not going? I forgot.
I was thinking about getting a ticket, and then I was going to get a ticket, and then with all these train strikes that are going on, I was like, for fuck's sake, I can't, I don't want to get there and not be able to get back. And I was like, it's going to be mad when the season. It's going to be mad when the season starts as well, because they're striking a lot more throughout August, so it's going to be bloody ridiculous. But yeah, unfortunately, I won't be there. I might actually do a watch along on this channel for the Emirates Cup game. I think I probably will actually. I know you guys have been crying out for me to do another Arsenal watch along, so I might cover it on this channel. Also, guys, later tonight I'll be dropping a pre-recorded video on Edu's interview that he done with Sky Sports. I'll be doing a video reacting to some of the comments that he made. So I'll be reacting to that. So do look out for that. That will be dropping at some point this evening, probably between 8 and 10 p.m. But George, yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks to everybody who's contributed. Thanks to everybody who's contributed in the chat. Please enjoy the rest of your afternoon and come on, you Gunners.